Dr. Nachin,
Hello,
over to you.
hello. Good morning, everyone. And first, thank you very much for joining with this today's webinar. And we are invited the forest engineer Gustavo Suarez de Freitas, today's webinar presenter and hosting together. I'm Nachin Patrapudek from National University of Mongolia, the professor of forestry. So let me introduce shortly about our host, presenter, the Gustavo Suarez de Freitas, forest engineer, president of the board of directors of the Pronaturaleza Foundation coordinator, the Peru program at the Earth Innovation Institute. So his experiences for over 20 years, he worked on shaping policies and promote biodiversity, conservation, and sustainable land use. So he's been worked in significant high positions, such as the executive director of the Pronaturaleza, director general of protected areas, director general of forest and wildlife, and the executive coordinator of the National Forest Conservation Program. So his experience is quite high, and nice to hear today his presentation with this good experience, nice experiences of the many different area of the forest and the wildlife, especially the protected area conservation and so on. So let's invite him to have today's presentation. Please, Gustavo.
Thank you, Dr. Nachi. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I don't know where are you. In my case, it's good night. Well, I will try to present this from a perspective of a practitioner. No? I am a forest engineer. I am not an academic. I used to be a professor for a while at the La Molina University. But as Dr. Nachi explained, I was also part of my career working in the public sector, in the forestry and the protected areas and the forest conservation departments or programs, and some part also working in the non-governmental side and the NGOs, promoting policies and legislation and looking for funding, fundraising for forest and conservation activities. So I wish to talk today, just in this moment, with this perspective of a practitioner, which are who has led teams of forestry in different institutions, and what I found is needed from my perspective, from my personal perspective, what is needed in the forest training or formation, education. So we can proceed. Okay. Oops. Oops. It doesn't work. Okay. Here is this is first we need I wish to review the current scenarios for the forest professional forest activities, and with a world perspective. Then talk a little bit about the activity in Peru. Then the elements to consider to improve the approach to the forestry education, and at least at the end some reflection and proposals. Well, we are in new scenarios, so we need new skills for these scenarios. No? The forest science and the forest profession need to change in a changing world. No? Um, we can see this in different fields of the knowledge. No, the first we have a very very how to say a very big change in all the information. No? When I was in the university, nothing of this doesn't exist. No, then right now it's possible to have digital twins, no, of the forest in our computer. We have lidar, satellites, drones, sensors of all kinds of equipment and possibilities, no? But this is just information, no? It's not, the decisions are not done by these machines or these tools. That is we need to use this, but this is a strong change, a challenge, because we need to understand how this works and how we can do with these instruments, no? And the other very important thing is the climate change, no? Climate change and forests are quite related, and you can see here some pictures about the Amazon and the how do you say the influence of the forest in the water distribution along all the continent, no? And what is happening in some areas with which are becoming dry because we have less forests in the southern part of the Amazon, no? So the forest fires also are quite related with this change in the big landscape of the whole Amazon in this case, no? There is a strong complexity more beyond the forest, and we also need to understand that. Um, the, well, we need to have a perspective, a landscape perspective, no, in for the management of the forest. We need to integrate the forest management in a broader landscape. And in countries like Peru or in tropical countries, we have this transformation of forests to other land uses and through a degradation process, or even in certain cases through a deforestation process. So we have plenty of land to recover, no? So in one hand, we need to manage the forests, try to avoid the degradation and deforestation, but in the other hand, we need to um, recover soils and forests. And for this, we'll see, talk maybe a little bit more about this later. We need to work with other sciences, with other professionals, with other technicians, no? In order to do that. It's not only a forest activity, but it's important our role here also, no? We have also this very big problem of the loss of biodiversity, the biodiversity extinction or crisis, and it is related with deforestation and with the fires. And you can see the map about large part of the Amazon is burned every year. And also, sometimes we have the idea that the forest is an intact one, the forest is in good shape. But when we see inside the forest, below the canopy, we can see that there is less wildlife or less biodiversity that we expected, no? So there is a very important issue about the forest as an ecosystem, no? Not just a provider of wood. Um, the other very important trend is the increase of the world population. Of course, the demand of several products, no, like wood and wood-related products, and meat. That is why we have a strong deforestation for cattle, and also oil palm. No, um, all of this is part of what we need to face when we are working on public policies, on forest policies, and so on. And then the situation of the forests are changing. No, when 40 years ago, 50 years ago, most part of the Amazon was intact forest, very very low deforestation, very little degradation. But right now the situation is quite different, no? In several parts of the Amazon, we have not a continuum of forest anymore. We have this kind of multiple use landscape with forests and deforested areas, cattle, grassland for cattle, and with also agroforestry and plantation. Not too much, but we have a while. And so the we need to see more than the trees. We need to see the ecosystem and the different kinds of ecosystem which are related with the tropical forest landscape right now, no? And I don't know what is the situation now, but by sure I was not prepared for that at the university, no? When we study, we are talking about the intact forest. We are um, um, oriented to manage intact forests and mainly for timber. Right now, ecological systems in some cases are more profitable than wood. In Peru, we have timber concessions which are trying to change to non-timber products or ecosystem services or RED programs because they are owning more money, uh, earning more money from these activities than from the wood. No? There is a lot of situation around that. No? Maybe there is problem with the transportation, the isolation of the forest, the problems in the forest industry, low technology, and so on. But the fact is, there are other sources of income from the forest, different from timber. But I am not sure if we are changing the forest mines at the same pace the world is changing. No, that is the key message here, I think. Um, we have a new scenario for forestry, no? Managing complex landscapes, no? We need to ensure restoration, ecological connectivity, promoting plantations, agroforestry systems, and so on. And we need to have a good relationship with the other activities, no? Like cattle rancher or the agriculture, because they can include forests in their activities also as well, no? So it could it could help for the health of the landscape. Um, well, the situation in Peru, no? Peru has the fourth largest tropical forest in the world, the second largest of the Amazon, the second largest tract of Amazon. We have a high biodiversity. We are a mega diverse country. Uh, but and this we see these forests are a strategic value for the country, not only for the timber production, but as I was talking about, for the provision of ecosystem services. No, the economic importance of timber is down, and the income from ecosystem services is growing. We also have a very complex legal and institutional framework. No? There is a kind of labyrinth in our forest law and additional regulations. We have three different bodies in charge of the forest. No? The SERFOR, which is the National Authority of Forest, but also the OSINFOR, which is the authority in charge of the supervision of all the concessions and other kinds of forest rights. But SERFOR is the national authority, but it's you say, a rector entity, no? They don't manage itself the forest. The real authority in the field are the regional governments, the forest departments of the regional governments. So it's a very complicated situation here. I think it's the same in other countries, but we did not find the way to make all these institutions work in a more coordinated way. Uh, Other very important thing in Peru is that we have a large part of the forest in indigenous land. No? About 20% of the Amazon is in peasants or indigenous communities. And then there is a large potential, very high potential for forest production in these areas, but uh, so the forests needs to learn how to work with indigenous communities. The interculturality is a must, but there is a little bit training in this intercultural approaches or cultural sensitivity for the forest professional, no? And there is an ethical and social challenge we need to face. And the other important point in Peru is the situation of the forest management. No? Deforestation is growing, no? Mainly to small scale agricultural expansion. The, the, the forest production has a very low weight in the gross domestic gross product, less than 1%. We have a very low developed plantations industry, but we have a great potential, but very low, very few plantations right now, industrial plantation, I mean. And the big limitation for that is the land tenure, no? That is one of the reasons I believe it's very important to be involved in the public policies, not only for in the forest policies, but also in the land use policies as a whole, no? Because forest is part of that. And if we can change some regulations, it will be very difficult to promote larger scale plantations if the companies or the people can have the property of the lands. And this is another important issue. Uh, when I see the scope of the forest activity in Peru, we have a wide range of those tasks, no? And the central challenge is how to have professionals capable of managing forest ecosystems and and ensure resource sustainability in the face of the pressure we have right now in the country, no? Market pressure, deforestation, illegal activities. We have illegal mining and illegal logging, and we need to to cope with all of these challenges, no? And and then we, we have at Forester, we have some expected duties, no? Sustainable forest production, no? Timber, non-timber, wildlife, etc. Ecosystem services, biodiversity conservation through different instruments, protected areas, and other potential tools or mechanisms. Wildlife management, planning and implementation of forest plantation for conservation, protection, or production. The management, the design and management of multiple use sustainable landscape. But in all these terms or duties, we have different types of actions. No? But this is what I believe is important in my message is that we have different type of actions. Not all the work of the foresters is being in the forest and making forest management plan for timber extraction. We need to work in public policy designs. We need to design management tools, strategies. We need to do strategic planning for the whole, for the forest as a whole, not just a specific timber operation, timber extraction operation or concession. We need to work in budget design and fundraising, and we need to ensure operational planning for the forest department itself. And we also, of course, need to manage forestry operations in the field, forest plantation, and also we need to do research, development, innovation. So there's a plenty of kinds of work in our profession what we need to do. So we need a broad set of capabilities, no? Uh, for instance, if we need forester working in public administration and public policies, we need a very strong management of the new institutional economics, no? This is quite important for the work in public policies. And from my experience, very few foresters in the country understand this issue. So we have several regulations which are poorly designed because the professionals lacks of the tools, no? The understanding of all the economic uh, uh, all the economic logic behind all the laws or the regulations. Huh? Also, if we wish to work in the public sector, we need a good knowledge of the law, the regulations, the institutions, the practices, and so on. And in any case, in any position, we need a strong capacity for strategic planning. I think it's very important to have adequate communication skills. We have this is a very we are not so that good as we need in this communication skills in general. And the other thing is that several times there are good foresters that are good engineers, but are poorly ecologists. No, and this is an engineer profession, but it's also a natural science profession. We need to understand the forest ecology and the landscape approach, not just the engineering part of the profession, how to make the roads and could make the timber extraction and so on. And right now, also we need to cope with all these new technologies, no? All the new information and communication technology, the GIS, the big data, artificial intelligence, and so on. And but at the same time, we still need foresters working as a traditional forest in extraction and transformation, being more engineers than scientists or ecologists. No? We need all of this. That is the challenge, I believe. No? And say that what I find that as a gaps in the current academic training, in Peru. Well, first is a curricular gap. No, there are some curricula that may outdated, focus on tradition exploitation, not integrated management and sustainability, not included enough the ecological systems as well, other products and services of the forest, insufficient practical emphasis. No, in Peru we have a very complicated country with several different ecosystems, geography, climate, also people, and so we need a more real field work, no, not just theoretical training, and this is a big challenge in country with university with very low budget. And also we need soft skills. No, a forest professional today must be a negotiator, a communicator, a mediator of social conflicts, not just an engineer. And the technological integration. No, the training should prioritize tools as geographic information system, and remote sensing, drone, and forest data modeling, and so on. And then I was thinking a few elements to consider to improve the approach to forest education to address the society needs at least in my country. No? I forgive me, but I am talking about the situation and my experience in my country. And it's not a generalization for all the world, of course. No? Well, one is we need to adapt to the change, so we need to have an adaptive management as well. No? I believe the forestry profession is fundamental for the future of the planet, but it must evolve along with the new needs and new expectations of the society. And I see that the society is evolving faster than we can or we are doing. So I believe we are not following the pace of the change in the world and both in the ecology and the society, no? The second reflection is the current complexity is not an obstacle, no? Uh, but we need to raise the quality and the relevance of training, creating professionals who are who are who are part of the solution for the forest problems in the country. And there is also a discussion about if we need generalists or specialists, no? And well, it depends on the object, no? Of course, for the working policies to work in the forest in the public sector, and also to work in the land use planning at a large scale, we need more generalistic than specialists, no? For is, the ability to work with other professions to integrate multidisciplinary teams is quite important for this kind of work. But also, of course, we need very very specialized people also for instance, for plantations or to manage forest exploitation and so on. And then one of two proposal, no, maybe very useful for this coordination mechanism for forest education. I think is the best place in the world to talk about these issues, no? And here I have these three, just to end my presentation, that the forestry and the forest engineering are crucial for the sustainability and inclusive development, no? Need to get the forest standing and to ensure the provision of ecosystem services. This is a fact. We need this forest and forest engineers. But the forest of the future, at least in Peru, should be an integral management of the territory, no? An agent of rural development, a technologist, a promoter of legality, and also a policymaker. Is important in the current situation of Peru. And I think for that, to achieve that, we need collaboration, no? Between forestry faculties in the country and also international cooperation, no? And I think this network is in a very good position to help to improve this forestry education that I believe we need in my country. And that's it. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for interesting presentation. So now we'll be open question and answers. So if anyone interesting to ask and discuss.
Everything is welcome, huh?
Yeah. Still we have time. So
Dr. Nachin,
yes,
thank, may I ask a question, please?
please.
Yes, thank you, Gustavo, for your presentation. What do you think about the other careers like environmental engineers and inclusively lawyers getting more involved in the forestry planning?
Well, in the case of the lawyers and other people who works in policies and regulations, of course, we need their participation. No? It's part of the discipline we need to design the good forest and land use policies, and also to have good rules for the activity. But I need the forest engineers don't need to become lawyers, but they need to understand better how the legal system works, how the principles, how to negotiate with these other professions. No? And for me, it's quite important to be in a position to be in a position to kind how do you say, to come be part of this multidisciplinary task force or working groups or something like that, no? And there are other professional, other engineers like these environmental engineers, which are a kind of generalists, no? They have a broader formation, broader scope than the pure forest engineers, but they lack of the profundity, you know, they lack of the specialization. So they are better for some kind of works than for others. And so I don't know, it's maybe maybe something related with the the marketing of the profession as well, no? Right now. There are new universities with new careers, and they are making maybe a better marketing than the forest faculties right now.
Thank you very much, Gustavo. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Machine.
Thank you. So we are inviting the others. We have not only questions, so you can discuss it,
Ah,
issues and things.
okay. Well, in the meantime, I wish to ask a little bit about how it's possible to have more collaboration to improve these issues in Peru from the forest education coordinate mechanism. Is possible? How are do you have plans for that? Is how we can improve this situation in my country?
That's a really good question, Gustav. So I think that now that we have two steering committee members here, Dr. Natchin and George, right? I think that this is a great opportunity. And when you were mentioning about the wholesome of a person that you think that is what Peru is needed, it's a lot of the perspective of a person, not just a traditional forester in working field. So I was also wondering, what would you think that education can provide these well-rounded type of group of students, right? And then because you've mentioned it's not just the expert knowledge, and they are also negotiator, they're also the policy, they understand the policy, right? Policy maker and making suggestions, and probably also doing probably some of the marketing outreaching as well. And what do you see education on this side could help to provide these type of people out there?
No, well, I believe we did a core forest formation, both as a forest, I think in a people who understand the forest, no, and understand the ecology of the forest, understand the manner of the forest and the principles and kind of have a good criteria about how to manage forests. That is for me is the core. But then it is possible to have different kinds of specialities, no? For instance, uh, people oriented to policies or to public administration needs a training different of the people who are more oriented for ecology or forest management or forest industries. Because I don't know in other countries, but in Peru we have all these different disciplines in the same faculty, and there is not too much specialities, I believe, no?
Mhm.
Well, there is also the possibility of the postgraduate courses as well, no?
Yeah, I definitely see that for the capacity training. That's what we call, right? The professionals working in the field already. Then through the mechanism, through APF ECM, I see the potential of, for example, working, providing a few weeks of training, for example, either online or in person. Either, we have the experts going there or bring them in, right? And doing these type of collaboration and in the field as well. We definitely see that it's possible, and also it's well knitted as well, as you pointed out in your presentation. That also mean that we need these group of people. For example, if you see, a group of people in the professionals now in Peru, you know them, they need this, and then we could definitely work together on providing a custom-made, tailored capacity training. That's what we call it. Yeah, that is very good. We welcome those ideas as well. I'm sure that George and you're in Peru too, right? And then you have your all sort of academic support out there too.
Yeah, yeah, really. Um, we we could see the intershade that exists between China and British Columbia, but we have been discussing with Bonasich from Chile to begin more or less the same from China to Chile and Peru to experiment other environments. No, this is dry forest, Amazonian tropical forest, and temperate forests. So we're starting preparing the new projects to do that. I think that interchange would be very useful for our countries.
That's perfect. Yeah, because we also, our center here also provide capacity training in the past to, especially before COVID, to Chile, Malaysia, right, to the different countries as well, and Vietnam, and still going on. So we would love to jump onto it if you see the needs out there, and then we have the work together. That's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gustav. And then let's stay in touch. And I wonder, anyone have from our audience any questions? Very interesting discussion, and really looking into the professions, right? And professionals and what is happening.
Oh, no more questions. Well, well, um, I want I want to take the advantage to have the opportunity to thank you for your work in this year. So this is the last webinars. So we will see you in January or February. I don't know what's the next one.
Yeah, well, certainly we will continue to offer the whole series starting January. So I will be, from APFECM. I understand that is the end of the year, and thank you, everybody. It looks like that we don't have any more questions coming in, but feel free to reach out to us if you have any interest in listening to more of which aspects and looking for forestry education, or not just education, looking at training, right? And how you see, as Gustav pointed out, what would you see it's what needed right now, but then the gap out there. And we would love to have more of the discussions like that. Well, thank you, everybody. Yes, Dr. Nachin.
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting and also presenting. Yes, it seems like if the mechanism is we are mostly educators talk about high education and university life and things, and now we can see that there is a gap between the professionals and the universities. and also need of the professionals which they need which graduates they want to have it, and then also we during the next meetings and also during the next presentations we can also talk about the professionals and how they are important to give us a feedback for the educational people, and then we should also to consider about this. Today we got a lot of the good ideas. How also keep in mind how we need to make the bridge between the professionals and the educators, especially the university educators. We need to consider about that. It's a very good idea and very good question. Still, we have staying with these questions and hoping that the group will be also discussed about that in the next future, the other time when we gather together or having this kind of webinars, and we will continue to think about and discuss more about. It's a very similar situation also in Mongolia. We have almost same situation facing. So thank you very much for your presentation, and also thank you for all participants, active, inactive, but it's I know there's sometimes somewhere is evening, somewhere is morning, somewhere is midnight, and also holidays and so on, but still we have quite a lot participants, and thank you for all participants and host and guest and everyone. Thank you very much. It was nice to see you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gustav, and thanks for coming. And we'll stay tuned. We will send out more information in the new year, and wish everyone have a safe, joyful, peace holiday filled with love. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in 2026.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Happy New
Bye.
Year.
Bye.
Happy
Thank you
New
very much.
Year.
Bye bye.
Bye.